Spaces Sims, and we are back with more of the Sims 4 Kindred Spirits. And like, okay, what is this? Meditate on the meditation stool. Hug someone. This is awkward. And also, Gail, I just feel like that is not the way to dance to this. I'm going to send you home. I came in here because we're with, obviously, Gail and Lachlan and Abigail to kind of wrap up their kind of stories. Gail's, to be honest, we know some of it. So, like, we kind of already know that Abigail's supposed to kind of run the family because it was like a matriarchy kind of thing, right? Especially now that everyone else in their family is dead except for the two of them. But she's kind of useless. You know what I mean? Especially now that she's mad. Like, she's literally insane. Where is she? She's tense from sunlight. You know, she's not supposed to ever leave the house. And I don't think I had anything else written down. But basically, so this kind of ties in with her and, like, Gail. She's basically like this because she sort of got tricked, I mean, into a relationship with Raiden, right? Are you, like, hungry? What is the deal with you? You're fine. What the hell is happening? The night is a dream. The day is a bright, bright nightmare. What? She's, like, throwing up because she's like, you're not, like, pregnant or some shit, are you? Like, you shouldn't be. No? Okay. Like, you shouldn't be. She's just sick because of the day. Like, polished to perfection, girl. No, we ain't leaving that toilet for other people. She kind of got tricked into a relationship with Raiden. Like, obviously, he kind of knew. He knew who the spirits were and everything like that. And we already know he's evil. So with Abigail, it was like knowing that she was part of this very powerful family. And since Abigail and Gail's family kind of run on the evil side, you know, they're kind of the reason, or no, they're a huge part of the reason why the spellcaster, especially the OG evil spellcaster, right, thought, you know, all spirits were evil and blah, 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 because of Gail's family being, like, kind of shady. Okay, like, not gonna lie. But, like, you know. Anyway. So, Raiden kind of knew that her family had a lot of power and whatnot. And kind of used that to kind of manipulate her, trick her into a relationship, whatever. Which is kind of not unlike what Abel started to do with Yuki, if you think about it. With the, like, oh yeah, like, being nice. But then, like, Yuki is a good soul, and Abel actually does love him. But, you know. And especially since Abigail was always treated like she was something so fucking wonderful by her family. So she didn't really use any of her, like, thinking skills here to be like, maybe he's manipulating me. I think Gail kind of always thought that she was being manipulated and didn't trust, like, Raiden and whatnot. Because they knew he was a spellcaster, and she's just like, whatever, you just don't trust me. Because she was always kind of like, just from always being pampered growing up and just whatever, she just kind of thought she could do no wrong, because that's the way she was always treated. So she never really developed her critical thinking skills, like, yeah, people are going to try and use me and manipulate me, and maybe I should, like, trust my instinct. She never did that. It was like, everybody loves me, everybody adores me, I'm great, I'm high and powerful and wonderful. And of course, like, when Raiden's throwing these kind of things out at her, like, oh my god, you're so powerful, you're so wonderful, oh my god, you're so amazing, you should be in charge of everything. Of course she's going to believe it. Especially when Gail is kind of, like, putting her down in a way, you know, and trying to take control of the family from her because he's telling her she's not, you know, good enough to run it. Partly because she's really not. She never really, you know, she was so used to being pampered that now that, like, all this control should be in her hands, she doesn't know what to do with it. She was used to other people doing everything for her, you know? And Gail kind of saw all the ins and outs. He saw every bit of it because everybody treated him like a ghost. So he is better at kind of managing the family, although there's only the two of them, you know, but she always kind of put him down too. Even though they were close as children, it started to get to that point where she was like, no, I'm the one in charge. That's the way this family works, and like, whatever. So anyway, Raiden was she was easy to manipulate by Raiden, especially because of like the fact that she and Gale kind of started becoming at odds, you know? So it was easier for him to kind of pull her away. But so when they were basically trying to stop Raiden, when they were having their battle with him and like whatever, she was kind of almost like on his side helping him. Like, so it was a really weird situation. Because she was going to like defend him, but she ended up getting in the way, and Raiden actually ended up kind of injuring her, and like everything that happened in that battle, like all the power and everything, blah, 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 like kind of fucked her up. So like basically almost killed her. And that's why she's also kind of lost her marbles. I mean, think about it. You're like totally in love with someone and everything like that. And then they're like, they try to kill you. And then your family is like, and she was kind of in a weird spot. So, yeah. So, and we know Raiden died, and like Abigail is basically kind of broken. So that's why her like dark form and her normal human form are kind of merged. She's scarred and broken and mentally insane. Like there was just a lot of shit going on. So of course now she can't run the family. So Gale was like, all right, I'm taking over, which is good because she really couldn't anyway, but he always had to tread this line of like, well, Abigail thinks she's running things, and he kind of had to manipulate her in a way to be like, yes, no, right, this is exactly what you should do. You're so smart for coming up with that. To get her to do the things that he knew needed to be done. And so she's supposed to be kind of hidden in the basement, but we don't really have a basement. And then if we leave the lot anyway, she'd be freed from the basement because that, Lord knows that doesn't work if you leave the lot. So anyway, and then we switch households. So whatever, just throw that in. Like she's basically locked in the house. She's not allowed to leave. And if anyone come out, like she's supposed to be locked in a basement. So she's not allowed to leave. She doesn't go into town, even though we've seen her in town. Just pretend, because again, it's The Sims. It's weird. Shit happens. So, he kind of refuses to kill her, even though, Abel was like, you should probably put her out of her misery. She's insane. She's a danger to everyone, especially after Raiden kind of manipulated her. We don't know what he put in her head. Like, we don't know what's going on. And she's like in mental, physical anguish. Like, you should just kill her. Like, put her out of her misery. And of course, so Gale's a little bit pissed at Abel for even suggesting that, even though I think deep down inside he knew it would probably be more humane, but like, especially because she actually is a danger to them with the, like, her power and just being uncontrollable in a way. That's why she's supposed to be locked in the basement, but she's been okay, actually. You're just sitting there. You're not actually playing. Can you do you were just sitting here and I feel like you're glitched. Dark meditation? Why are you glitching? Who is glitching this house out? Reset. Okay, can you do a dark meditation? You're sleeping. Okay, so you need some energy. But anyway. So yeah. He also, because he learned everything. We kind of already know he's pretending to be Abigail in town, and that's kind of why he dresses like this. Also, I think just watching all of those things and his whole family, like, praising Abigail and like, oh, the women in the family are better, like, kind of like, yeah. So he likes the attention he gets. And he feels pretty. It's okay. I mean, look at him. You'd feel pretty if you were in that dress too. Look at him. He's beautiful. So he enjoys dressing up in women's clothing and doing the job that he does. He actually likes having that split side to him. Especially like the way, like I said, the way his family always treated the women. He kind of feels empowered, I guess, being able to do this and being able to pretend to be Abigail in town. So kind of when people see him dress like this, that's him being Abigail, and everyone thinks he's Abigail. And she was always kind of like nasty, haughty, bitchy, because that's just kind of how she had been raised, and thinking so high and mighty of herself. So when he goes out dressed like her, it allows him to kind of be bitchy and angry to kind of like relieve some of that angst that he has. because, you know, like Abigail was an ass to the townspeople, but he's kind of angsty that all the shit he dealt with growing up, the fact that Abigail really, like, a little bit, they had a bad relationship toward the end, but he's also upset about what happened to her, you know? But, like, so he's got a lot of issues, and so sometimes that kind of builds up as, like, you just want to snap at people, and he can just, like, snap at people in town when he's being Abigail, you know? And it kind of relieves some of that frustration for him. And then nobody thinks anything's wrong with Abigail because they're used to the bitchy kind of attitude sometimes. They're used to her being a little volatile, right? So he gets to be his bitchy diva self when pretending to be her. And, you know, that's kind of fun for him. So, anyway. But yeah, so we already kind of, like when we went over, like, his family's basically dead. And they were slowly being killed off in their constant battles with the spellcasters because they were always getting into shit. They were always doing shady things in shady places, and it would end up... Oh my god, my TV was just wobbling. I was like, I was moving my arm on my desk, and then, like, it's bouncing against my bookshelf, which is shaking my TV that I use as a monitor for work. Anyway. So they were always slowly kind of being killed off by battles with spellcasters and in their shady dealings and stuff. So they've been, like, for, like, decades and, like, whatever, being slowly whatever. Because, again, they run on the evil side of the, like, spellcaster coin, which kind of, I mean, not spellcaster, the spirit coin, which, again, didn't help when the spellcasters, way back when, kind of started assuming that all of the spirits are evil and devious and, like, the super mean, evil, supreme, evil spellcaster dude, right? The OG evil spellcaster guy. We should have given him a name. I really should have, but, like, it wasn't that important at the time. When he was kind of, like, pointing out there that all spirits are evil and kind of starting this war, it's like Gale's family was a really good, like, see? You had some shady dealings, too, and you were caught. Yeah, and it was probably always Gale's family doing it, because they've just been evil for centuries, so... You know, that's that. So, look at that. Everything's out. All right. I gotta flip to Lachlan's story, but he's sleeping right now. So, like, we can go through this a little bit faster. So he's sleeping. Are you gonna get up at some point? You gotta wake up, precious. Oh, we can just watch him sleeping. Aww. Yeah. And, like, Lachlan being here. You know, whatever. Anyway. I got a lot of little notes on this one, and it literally runs to the side of the page, and then it goes over, and it's, like, literally wrapping around the page. So this one's going to be a mess when I try to read it. So that's why I'm actually kind of looking... Okay, hold on. All right, here we go. We'll get you up so you can go pee. Well, you don't need to go pee twice. Look at you. So we kind of already know, like, his story. His mother is kind of indebted to Gale's family because they rescued her. She was pregnant. She kind of had a weak constitution and died. And so, you know, her... Were you just humming as you flushed the toilet? You're strange, but I love you. You know, so that the... however long she promised them, they kind of held Lachlan to, you know what I mean? And it was kind of like, well, this is just the way I've always been raised, so I guess. So he kind of, like we kind of already know he tries to be supportive with Gale. He doesn't really push him. He's there kind of as he needs to be. He feels kind of like an older brother to Gale, you know? And part of the contention that, say, Cyrus has with Lachlan, we kind of knew there was, like, a weird thing. Like, why don't you fucking leave? You can leave. Because Lachlan could actually fight Gale and win. Because he's far stronger than Gale is. You know, he's more powerful. He could win his freedom, you know, easily. I mean, not, like, obviously he's not going to, like, kill Gale, but, like, he could if he really wanted to, but he could just, like, fight and be like, look, we're going to battle this out, and I'm going to win my freedom back. You know, he could totally do this, like, gentleman's duel. Slap you with a glove, but no guns, okay? Because, like, we don't kill people here. Except for evil spellcasters, I guess. Whatever. Anyway, but he doesn't because he kind of wants to help him protect Gale. Again, because of that brotherly thing. Like, they grew up together. So he's also always kind of seen the way Gale was treated, kind of knows that deep down inside Gale is actually like a tender heart, even though he's a bitch on the surface and even though he's like angsty and kind of like moody and whatever, he's actually a good soul. You know, he's been through a lot, and Lachlan is just too freaking nice. I like how she just picked it up and moved it. Like, she didn't even clean it. Like, whatever. So he kind of always avoids answering when people kind of ask him why he doesn't fight for his freedom, and that's what kind of triggers Cyrus. Like, why the frick don't you just fight? He doesn't get it. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't understand why Lachlan would basically stay being, like, a servant to this family that trapped him. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they helped your mother, but that doesn't mean that they own your life. And the arrangement she made, like, sure, I'll stay and I'll help you and work for your family. You saved me and my unborn child. Doesn't mean that you owe them your life. Like, what the fuck? But, you know, and Lachlan is just like kind of brushes it off and doesn't say anything because he's like, it's not really his place. He feels like to be like, well, Gale just needs me and I want to be there for him because people are like, Gale's an asshole. Gale's not really an asshole. That's the front he kind of puts on. You know what I mean? And like, he is actually like, you could put on warm clothes maybe? Because you're cold and I don't need you dying on me because you're kind of being dumb and not putting on warm clothes while you're going outside. Okay. Okay, but you're outside. What are you doing? Anyway, we need the sun to come up. What the fuck? It's so dark. But, you know, and Gale kind of won't admit it again because he's very brash and harsh, crunchy on the surface, but he's a little marshmallowy on the inside, right? He kind of won't admit it, but he does hold a special place for the times he spent with Lachlan, and he really does care about Lachlan a lot. So, like, and Lachlan kind of knows that. Like, they have, like, kind of an unspoken, like, brother kind of relationship. Lachlan just wants to protect Gale, but would never be like, I'm just here to protect you, bro, because Gale would be like, I don't fucking need you to protect me, but absolutely unspoken does, you know, and appreciates Lachlan, but would never say it. You know what I mean? And Lachlan is, like, he knows, but he would never make Gale say, like, it's just, they have that nice little bond, and it's cute. You know? Anyway. So, okay, so anyway. So, Lachlan is a little bit, so we're going to kind of go back to the past. What is she doing back there? So we're going to like hop back to the past a little bit. So to kind of delve a little more into the, you know, the moments they spend. So Lachlan was about, say, 6 when Gale was born. So he was like a teenager when Gale was like a little child, was small, you know, so like, there's like a 6-year difference. So like when, say, Gale was like 10-ish, you know, that Lachlan would have been like 16. So he kind of watched like this, like he watched Gale, who was as a child kind of innocent and sweet, and he was, you know, happy, but he was still a ghost in his own family. You know what I mean? He was always like stuck in the corner, but he still kind of like had Abigail's support at that time because Abigail and Gale were very close still. So he kind of like Lachlan watched this happy kind of ghost child turn into the sad, angsty person that we know that Gale is, because, you know, when he was younger, he was little and he was happy and his sister was there. And even though his family ignored him, he still kind of got to hang out with his sister by sitting in the corner quietly and like watching her lessons and stuff. And like, but then like, as you get older, you start realizing like, my family hates me and they treat me like shit. And like, my sister's starting to act that way. And like, things just started getting worse as he got older. So like, Lachlan kind of grew up watching this, watching someone that was happy and sweet and innocent turn into like angry and kind of bitter. So, you know, and he wasn't really allowed to talk to the kids because he's like you're off over there. You don't talk to the children in this family, you know, even Gale, but he kind of did anyway. Like he wasn't supposed to, especially Abigail, but he did talk to Gale in secret when he could, you know what I mean? And I think, well, wow, he really would have gotten in trouble. He would have gotten in trouble for that because even though Gale was like a shadow and a ghost to them and they treated him no better than they treated their servants, right? It was still like, don't you speak to him. They almost treated him worse. So, like, they would talk to, like, Lachlan or any of the other people that worked for them when they needed shit, right? And acknowledge their existence. Like, oh, thank you. Like, you brought me something. Like, yeah, I acknowledge that you did something. Oh, you need to do this. You need to do that. Whatever. Nobody spoke to it. Like, he was just like... Unless they were going to berate him or, like, just be mean to him because, like, oh, yeah, that one's existence. Whatever. Like, they tried to ignore him. So, like... If they saw Lachlan, like, talking to him, it would have been like, don't you speak to him. Not because Gale's better than you, but because don't talk. Seriously, you just slipped on nothing? Or did the thing fall on your head? Oh my god, I wasn't even looking at the screen. It's like, glanced away. Oh my god. You know what I mean? It was more like, don't talk to him. He's not good enough to speak to. Like, so they really treated Gale like shit. So, of course, Lachlan kind of would always... be nice to him and talk to him when he could, you know, was very good at like, oh, nobody's around. Okay, I'm going to say something to him because, you know, he just kind of felt for the poor kid. Like, this is not right the way this, and he was also lonely. He didn't have any family. And then he kind of saw the way Gale's family treated him. And he also knew from like what other, like, say, not what Gale's family, but like other servants at the time would have told him, you know, oh, your mother risked her whole life, gave up everything, stayed in this family to protect you and whatever. Like, there were other nicer, like, servants of the household that kind of told Lachlan these things, you know? So he kind of knew, like, you know, I don't have a mom. I'm, like, I don't have a family except for, like, the other servants here that are, like, makeshift family. But my mom at least loved me, you know, and did everything to protect me before I was even born. And, like, Gale's family treats him like garbage. Like, he knew, like, this isn't right. You know what I mean? So he kind of just, you know, and then talking to Gale and even just seeing Gale just being so happy with those little tiny moments. Like, Lachlan sneaking him a piece of candy or something. You know what I mean? And like, oh, look, Gale's just so excited about that little bit of interaction where somebody treated him like a person. You know, just made Lachlan feel good, and he kind of just wanted to keep that, you know? And then, again, like, seeing him kind of grow up and getting angry, like, I don't know, like, you know, he knows that he's not trying to fix Gale, being like, oh, I can fix him. He's like, I just need to be here, because I'm the only support he ever really had, and if I left, he wouldn't feel good about himself. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Lachlan could fight, get out of there, and be like, live my own life, but... He's like, but my life, I'm not staying here because I have to. I'm staying here because I want to. Because, you know, he knows Gale's better than what other people see. And especially now that things have changed. Now that Gale is the only one in this family, you know, he's trying to, like, just existing to be a better influence and just be there for him in, like, those moments where he is acting more human and less... See, he's like, this bitch. Like, you know? And especially now that Gale has to deal with Abigail and her insanity and, like, all those issues, he's like, I can't leave him alone with this. Like, he's not going to be able to handle it, you know? So he's kind of his moral and emotional support that Gale doesn't know he has or needs, but deep down he knows, but they don't, it's a nonverbal agreement, you know? So, you know, I mean... And again, he was kind of always there, like, because Gale was always by his sister's side, and then later when his sister kind of grew out of him and, like, started treating him like the rest of his family, when he was kind of just very standoffish, like, Lachlan was still there. And even if Gale was nasty and bitter and, like, whatever, he wasn't, he might be snippy with Lachlan, but he'd always kind of, like, even if they said, like, Lachlan said something to him, whatever, and Gale didn't agree, he might snap at him, but then he'd be like, I mean, whatever, maybe you're right. Like, I don't think he'd necessarily actually be like, I'm sorry, but in his own weird way, he'd kind of, like, roundaboutly apologize, because he deep down knows that, like, Lachlan is the only one on his side. At least that's the way he felt. All the other, like, Ayakashi boys that we've met, like, they don't hate Gale. They're like, oh my god, you're a pain in my ass. But they sometimes tolerate him. Like, I think Cyrus is more like, I tolerate you because Abel deals with you, but, like, I'd punch you in the face if I could, but I'm just not going to bother. Like, you know, not everybody loves each other, but they know that like Gale does have things to contribute. He does come from a powerful family, but it's still like one of those like, God, sometimes you're just a pain in my ass, Gale. But anyway, and Lachlan, it's kind of funny. Like Lachlan really does actually hate the spellcasters because they caused his mom's death. But he also hates that he hates them because he's a good soul. So he's like, I hate them, but like, I shouldn't hate other people because they're not like, all spellcasters aren't the ones who killed my mom, but I hate those fuckers for killing my mom, but it wasn't all of them. So it's really hard for him. Like, it was kind of easier in a way when they were fighting Raiden for him to be like, fuck this shit, I'm gonna kill him. Like, and to be okay because he kind of took, wow, you were just like, are you gonna like eat that? Because he made lobster thermidor for himself, I guess. I mean, I'm pretty sure he would have made it for anybody else, but he only made one single. Oh, that's true. Wait a minute. Why are you eating fish? Fish are friends, not food. Oh my God. No. You need to like cook. Make some fruit salad instead. Oh my God, sweetie, you can't eat that. I totally forgot. Like, you're a mermaid and you're like, fish are friends, not food. Okay. Also, why are you cold inside? Do we not have a thermostat? I mean, we could turn on auto thermostat. Okay, I guess. I mean, that'll make that room warmer. We don't have a thermostat in this house. It'll be fine. My God, I forgot I made him like, give him all these cooking points. He's like, anyway. Yeah, so it was kind of easier with Raiden, like, fighting him because he kind of just, like, channeled the anger that he had kind of deep down inside about his mom. And knowing that Raiden, like, was kind of awful and was going to hurt them all. But he still has this, like, but I don't want to hurt him even though I hate him. Like, but he kind of had to channel all of that. But then there was a guilt that he felt after that. Like, I helped kill him. And like, this is like, so it kind of tears him apart inside this like duality of like, I hate the spellcasters, but it's wrong to hate them because that's not all their fault. And like, we need to kill Raiden. Yeah, let's take him out. But it was like, but I mean, could we have helped him? It also kind of, I mean, he's also very much the most spiritual kind of one. Well, a very spiritual, I mean, Salem kind of, yes, because, probably more spiritual than him, but Salem was an add-in, but anyway. He kind of keeps, like, the Ayakashi, like, the spirit kind of faith and the old beliefs, within reason to modern times. Like, he's not like, oh, we have to, like, throw people in the fires of, like, it's not weird, I mean, he, like, it's modern, but he kind of still believes in all of those things and, like, the old prophecies and the old stories and stuff like that. And he kind of still, like, where people would kind of venture be like, oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, sure, we know we believed in this, but that just seems silly in modern times. He'd be like, no, but I still think that there's merit in some of these things, right? So he's kind of very strong in his belief of the prophecy and keeping to it, which is kind of what helped him trust Yuki a lot. Because again, Yuki being a spellcaster is something that Lachlan kind of hated. Especially when, like, because, like, the first time he met Yuki, new in town, he didn't really realize he was a spellcaster, right? That was before, like, Abel and everyone was like, yeah, he's definitely a spellcaster, but he didn't die when he went in that house, so that's fucking weird, right? So, like, the first time Lachlan met him, before there was this knowledge that, hey, there's a spellcaster here, it's like, oh, this guy's kind of cool. Like, oh, hey, hi, nice new person, great. Didn't hate him, but then finding out, oh, there's a spellcaster, he was kind of instantly angry. And then they found out Yuki was a spellcaster, he was like, but wait, I've met him, and I talked to him, and he seemed nice, but I hate this spellcaster, but Yuki is... And again, that was that weird, like, thing where he's like, I hate him, but I can't hate him. And, like, as we know, Lachlan is actually really close to Yuki. You know what I mean? He goes over all the time. Aren't they, like, they're almost like besties. He's, like, this closest friend. He's actually closer to him than he is to fucking Gale. Like, he is. So, I think he was kind of, and he was in that, like, I want to hate him, but he's so nice, and I don't know. Again, that was, like, that deep-seated anger at spellcasters. And then when they kind of, the prophecy kind of stuff came out with, like, Yuki might be the one that spoke of in the prophecy, because, like, we put that spell in that house, and, like, he didn't die. He forgot fucking everything, and Yuki, like, so, and again, they all kind of went around and did their, like, we're all gonna go around and, like, talk to everybody, and, like, watch him and kind of always show up. And, you know, Gale was more like, Lachlan, you do it for me. I don't want to be bothered. So Lachlan's like, great. Yeah. And I think Gale kind of knows Lachlan's feelings about the spellcasters and like whatever. And I don't know if Gale was sending him over there like, you go over there and then you'll hate him and then maybe you'll take him out. Because like, wants you to like build that rage because like, look what the spellcasters did to his family. Or if he's like, go over there because, you know, and try to determine who he really is. I don't really know Gale's motivation there. Or if it was just straight up like, I'm lazy and I don't want to do it. I'm too good for doing it. Just go over there for me. I don't know. But, you know, and we obviously know that he became very good friends with Yuki. And I think it's made it easier for him to realize that, you know, like, he hates the spellcasters for what they did to his mom, but the spellcasters hate the spirits for what, like, well, Salem. Whoops. Like, because... But I mean, even Salem didn't really do anything to them. Okay, yes. He was fooling around with OG evil spellcaster's wife. Okay. But like, look. That's one thing to be like, Salem, keep it in your fucking pants, you asshole. That was shady and shitty. But like, you can't blame everybody for that. You know what I mean? You can't be like, that guy cheated. Every man's a cheating whore. Like, that's not how it works. My wife was sleeping with a spirit. They're all evil asshole. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the man was crazy. But, you know... But, you know, he spun it to make it sound like they were all tricksters and evil and they would lure you away and like whatever. And then Gale's family being shady and shit. So, like, it'd be like any spellcaster, I mean, being like, oh, okay, well, everything we learned about them, like, just because this group was awful doesn't mean everybody is. And that's the way most of the spellcasters are. Like, look, we just stick to ourselves and our own little thing. Like, let's not worry about it. But it's that underground society, you know? And again, most of the spirits kind of keep to themselves. Like, they just keep to themselves now. It's like, you stay on your frickin' and we'll stay over here. And, like, let's not. But you still have those groups that clash. You still have those. Like, most of the time, the spirits are like, there's not as many of us as there used to be. Let's just keep to our fucking selves, mind our own damn business. But those fucking spirits need to stay the fuck out of here, right? I mean, the spellcasters need to stay the fuck out of our shit. So when they start encroaching in your territory, you're like, wait, what? Red flag. It's really the evil, like, the Elphabas and the Simians and their cult group, right? That's causing all the problems, but... Oh, you're gonna nap, sweetie? Aw, you're so tired. But anyway, yeah, so finding out that Yuki kind of was part of this prophecy... And him being very into the prophecies and believing in them 100% and kind of whatever. I think it made it easier for him to like see past the spellcaster thing and kind of just talk to Yuki as a person and trust him as a spellcaster. Because if he's the one in the prophecy, he can't be all bad because the prophecy said a spellcaster would bring them together, right? So, you know, so it made it a lot easier for him to kind of become friends. Oh, look at her. Is she terrified? What's she scared of? Daymare from sleeping in the coffin. Even a big bad vampire can sometimes get scared and have a bad dream. Coffin's no protection from the inner turmoil within the mind's eye. It's written in the manual. I just love how she's like... She is glitching all sorts of fucking out. She's just our walking glitch, but, you know. So that's that. That's basically like all their end stories and whatnot, so... I like how the ice just magically appears even though there's like literally no snow out here. Who's calling you? Oh yeah, sure, actually. Come over and like talk about some shit, I guess. Oh, you need to eat. I think you have stuff in your inventory, don't you? Yeah, good. And you know, so we kind of already know too, like Gale's been kind of bitchy and cold and everything like that, but now him having this relationship again with Orion, the kind of relationship that he... Wait, what are you feeling sad about? Feeling insecure. Your significant other isn't around. Why don't you invite him over? You know, so... And I think that's also helped him. And I think, you know, Lachlan always kind of being there and giving him kind of emotional support kind of helped Gale be a little more open to talking to Orion and kind of talking about what happened. And I don't want to say forgiving him, because it wasn't really Orion's fault, you know, that... Where the hell did Abel go? Did he come over and go straight to our computer? He fucking did. I gotta sneeze. More choices. Friendly. Ask about day. We'll just come over here and chat with him a little bit. Discuss plasma flavors. You know, it kind of... I don't think he would have wouldn't say Lachlan's influence, maybe, you know, kind of been as open to reigniting his feelings with Orion, or talking to him, or being open about what happened. But Lachlan was more like, well, you know, you were friends once. Why don't you talk to him? Why don't you ask him what happened? Are you sure that, like, that's what happened? You know what I mean? And I feel like Lachlan also probably would have said something to Orion, like, so, like, you and Gail used to be friends, huh? Like, should probably talk about that. Like, without being like, dude, you need to fucking talk about this shit. It's like fucking Starburst down here. I don't know why. I like the bright tropical-y kind of colors. I know there's no, like, green or blue or, like, whatever, but it's like something about the pink and the orange and the yellow just makes me think of, like, Starburst or Skittles or something. You know what I mean? It looks like candy flavors. I don't know. Anyway. But yeah, I feel like Lachlan would have kind of been the one to, again, not be like, you should talk to him, but be like, huh, you guys used to be friends. What happened? Yeah, did you ever talk about that? Yeah, just kind of casually, where he kind of, you know, phrases it in a way that it kind of plants that seed in your mind, and then you think about it, and then you're like, huh, maybe we should talk about this. You know? And especially, like, Orion, I think, would have absolutely probably been willing to talk about it, but he was kind of shy and awkward, and then Gail was always being a bitch to him, like, putting him down, and he was like, I don't understand this. We used to be friends, and, like, you know. So, Gail kind of has, you know, Lachlan to thank for why he got Orion back in his life, which is beautiful and lovely, and now they're happy. And fucking Abel's in love with the spellcaster, so you know they're going to tease him about that a little, like. You know what happened the last time one of us is in love with the spellcaster? Abigail. Lucky she's not dead. I'm like, yeah, but Yuki's a good boy. He really is. And, like, honestly, like, spellcasters never really did shit for him. Like, you know what I mean? He was always just kind of like, whatever. He didn't really grow up in the spellcaster realm, you know? Because Morgan didn't want him there. Like, don't keep him involved in this. And yes, obviously, like, oh, sure, when he learned he had magical powers, it was like, oh, okay, but they didn't know, nobody knew that Morgan was his father, you know what I mean? So, or that he was a descendant from the evil original OG spellcaster. He kind of wanted to keep that a secret. But, you know, Elphaba and Simeon kind of found that out, But Yuki was kind of raised in, like, away from that kind of thing, and away from where potentially he could have been needled by the hate and, like, grown up like that. He kind of just grew up normal in the human world. Like, yes, like, obviously, like, other parent, which, okay, again, his other father is actually Saint Germain in, like, Sims Cass world, if you think about it, but whatever. He's not in this save, but, you know, would have grown up and taught him, like, yeah, he knew about spellcasters and kind of let him hone those skills, and maybe, like, but there are some, like, spellcasters that kind of, like, teach on the fringes, say, you know, like, oh, yeah, we still teach magic and stuff like that, but we're not really involved with, like, the spellcaster realm. Like, yeah, we're obviously still spellcasters, but we're not, like, in the spellcaster club. Like, we don't go to the magic realm all the time, or, like, yeah, they might go for certain things, but they're not, like, they're on the fringes of the cult, I guess. They're not, like, part of the evil cult, obviously, but they're also, like, not like here where there's a community. It's like here there's a community of the Ayakashi who kind of, like, mix with, like, normal people and, like, whatever, and, like, the spellcasters kind of have they live in the magic realm, that's where they live. And they might come out to the human realm to, like, whatever, but they kind of just stick in their own kind of, like, Glimmerbrook is, like, the outskirts, but still, it's mostly spellcasters, you know, they barely mingle. But then you have the ones who are like, nah, I just live in the human realm, and, like, yeah, I talk to spellcasters, and I go to this, like, magic realm, but I, like, totally live in the middle of a normal human city and live daily life, and maybe I use magic for, like, whatever, but I'm not, like, magic isn't 100% of my life, you know? Sure, I might use it to clean up my house because I'm feeling lazy today, but like maybe the other day I'm like, whatever, I'll just wash the dishes normally, you know? They don't 100% rely on magic. So, you know, and that's kind of the way Yuki was raised. Like he had magic tutors and stuff like that. So he always kind of could at least hone his skills, but he didn't grow up relying or thinking he was anything special. Like, oh, hey, I have magic and I got to keep it kind of secret from, you know, humans, but you know, I'm not like, oh, I'm way better than everyone. It wasn't like that, you know. So anyway, that's that. And that's all of Gail and Lachlan's kind of backstory stuff. And not next week, next time, so on Thursday, when we come back, we will be back with Yuki and we will battle Simeon. And hopefully it doesn't go the way it was when we battled freaking Alfala and it took forever. So we won't do a heated battle. We'll battle Simeon, take him out, you know, and then, you know, that'll be the rest of this week. So anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.